All right, like
Hello, good evening, everyone. Um,
Please, can we just wait for more people to join me? So,
Excuse me, can you see the number of people in attendance? I can't see. You're mute, Emmanuel.
oh yes, you can see that at the edge of the screen. We're currently at zero. We're still waiting to join. Can we get to post on the group chat as well for people to join?
At the
Okay, we have
edge
a
of my
couple of people.
screen, I can't see it.
I'll take a screenshot and send to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We have waited for a few minutes for more people to join, so we're still going to continue waiting. But in the meantime, I would like to welcome those of you that are already here. You're welcome to another session of our event, the AWS Cloud Club of University of Lagos, and we are very happy to have you here. Today it's going to be another very interesting and exciting event, and of course, you have a lot of things to benefit as you and profit from as you've always. We have a lot of interesting things to share today. So if you know of anyone that can benefit from this event, to do please reach out to the person to join us for the event today. Okay, for those of you that are already here, let's make it a little bit interactive. Can you write in the comment section how your week has been? It's the beginning of another week, so how has the past week been, and how did you spend your weekend? Did you enjoy it? What new things did you try? Did you work on any projects? Did you try to read up on anything involving the cloud? Did you learn of any new service that you find interesting and you'd like to share with us? We'd like to hear that from you in the meantime. Please do that, please. Thank you. Oh yeah, Full Blood Prince. Thank you very much. Welcome. He said he's playing with API hops. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Oh, good. Can you tell us about it? What about API hops? Can you just give us a brief one down of what it is about? Anuluwapo Olu. Thank you also. You said your week has been great, and you're rounding up your final project. Oh, wish you the best of luck with that. I wish you'd be able to do as much as you'd like to do in this coming week. You already have a lot of it on your plate with rounding up your final year project. We wish you the best of luck with that. Elizabeth Ogumola said she did a lot with Cloud9 and Code Path9. That's interesting. I'll yeah, I'll give 1 more minute for anyone to share whatever thing they want to share about their week then. And in case anyone has any question to ask us, maybe about the community, just very basic, simple questions to ask, you can just drop it in the comment section and I'm going to do well to respond to it quickly. So just general set of questions, not if you have more specific questions, then we're going to take them in more detail later on. But now, if maybe you're just joining us for the first time and you want to know anything about the community, or you've always had some question lingering in your mind and you want us to clear the hair, so you can just make mention of it here. Moses says it feels good to be here. Oh, welcome, Moses. And he's looking forward to learning something new. Of course, you're going to get what you're looking forward to met. You're definitely going to learn something new. Okay, so enough of the welcoming. I'm just going to go straight into the event for today. So I'm going to give us a bird eye view of how the event is going to progress. Okay. About a week ago, we asked on our community, WhatsApp community, we asked our members what is the event they would like us to host, and that I believe is going to be to have the most impact on their learning journey. And by popular demand, we concluded that we're going to host an event on how to learn in the cloud. So we are going to give us tips and advice and nuggets on the best way to learn while you are learning while you're on your cloud journey. So what are the best ways to do things so you learn most effectively and very quickly as a cloud engineer? And that's the reason for today's event titled taking control of your cloud journey. We envision to do exactly what the topic has said. And so our way to do that is that after this brief introduction from me, we are going to have a presentation which is going to center around the topic for today. What are the things we have to share with you on how to take control of your cloud journey? And that's going to be a presentation of 10 minutes, which is going to be anchored by Oni Emmanuel, who is the club captain, and he's going to follow that by a demo of 20 minutes. Of course, the demo is there to solidify whatever thing has been said in the presentation. So it's more like the practice to the afterwards. We are going to have a Q&A section, which is going to be anchored by Boluwatife. So if you have any questions from the presentation or from the demo that has been shared and you want it to be answered, you can ask your questions, and Boluwatife is going to take the questions and ask it to Emmanuel, who is going to do justice in answering those questions. Afterwards, we have announcements, which is we have about four different kinds of announcements. One of it is about the community day that is going to take place next week, the AWS Community Day, which takes place once a year. The last one was held in the University of Lagos. This coming one is going to be held on Lagos Island. So we hope you're going to be there, and then we're going to share with you everything you need to know about the Community Day in the announcement. And then the second thing, we have some announcements to make about our activities on the community. So about our community event and activities. And then the fourth thing is going to be an announcement pertaining to the demo and the presentation that has been done today. So we have an important thing to share with you to make sure you can make the best use of whatever thing is being discussed here today. And lastly, which is what a lot of people want to hear, we want to give exam vouchers to our community members. So we are going to make announcement to you on what are the things you need to do to be eligible to win the vouchers. And of course, these vouchers are actually worth a lot. Some of them are worth about $100, and some of them about $150. And in today's economy, with the exchange rate, we all know how much that is. $100 or $150 is something we should all try, unless for those of us that already have the certifications and don't need them. But if you need the certifications and you want vouchers to secure an opportunity to take those exams, then you should take this section. Very important, and you learn the things you need to do so you can be eligible to win one of those vouchers. We have more than one, so we have opportunity for more than one winner. And after that, we're going to have a closing remarks, which is going to be taken by Bolo Watife. So I think I've done a very quick rundown of the whole events. I'm going to leave the floor now to Oni Emmanuel, who is going to start by taking us deep into the theme of today's discussion. So, Oni Emmanuel, you have the floor, please. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining, and I'm very happy to have you here. You're welcome. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale. Thank you for that introduction. And yeah, I'm really, really excited once again towards having to meet with each and every one of us in the community to get to speak on um, the topic that we have here today, which is more or less taking control of the cloud journey. And yeah, I think we should just quickly dive into it because of our time. So I'll be sharing on my screen. So can I get a confirmation if anyone can get see like my screen and all of that? I know I can see my screen here. Can anyone see the slides from the end?
Yes, yes, I can.
All right, thank you very much. All right. So yeah, welcome once again, and to today's topic, which is more or less taking control of your cloud journey. And as we all know, this is more or less like a series that we've been having. The cloud pad Launchpad 3.0 has been like the series that we've been having for a while. So this is the third edition of this particular series, and for the team and the topic for this particular series, it's the take control of your cloud journey and quickly be diving into. So, and this is where we get to talk about how to source for projects, how to get around troubleshooting errors that you get to encounter while developing or working on development projects, and also how to get to read through documentations, how to get to work with new tools and all of that. So we'll be talking in depthly on those things today. So quickly, so first of all, for sourcing for projects, I know a lot of us are really like are really very inquisitive about how to really get to see projects that one could actually work depending on the niche of their interest. And this is something that has been really like a concern to us because of some of us really have that mindset that we've really like done quite a bit of things and really need to like up our game to the next level. And we are really like faced with that challenge of where to really like look out for projects that we could work hands on. And today we'll be sharing a couple of these things and just so just in the slides, so we could actually explore learning platforms. Platforms like AWS QBDI is a good place for you to be able to see projects tailored to AWS cloud. You get to see projects that you could actually work on hands-on. Udemy is another good example where you get to see projects that you can actually work hands-on as well. Websites like GitHub, YouTube, and Medium offer opportunities as well where we could actually to work, get hands-on projects to work on and actually work on this project as well. So the second one is network and collaborations. And this is actually a good means for you to be actually able to work hands on a particular project. So when you get to reach out to people within in your network, when you get to attend sessions, workshops, you're able to work hands on a particular project. I think we had a workshop. I think that was last month thereabouts, where people came around to work on a particular workshop. So that's a good means on working on projects. Then third one is open source contributions and hackathon. So you could actually get to explore open source communities and also participate in cloud-based projects. Example of that would be the OSCAR, which is the Open Source Community for Africa. There was just a previous hackathon that ended, which is the GenAI hackathon by AWS, and it was really an interesting one. People get to learn about new things around GenAI, and yeah, it's a good way for you to be able to work hands-on in a particular niche or in a particular project. Then secondly, reading through documentations. How do we get to like read through documentations? Documentations can be really boring, can be really bogus. And so how do we get to read through documentation? So first of all, getting to understand the structure of documentation is really, really important. So documentation often follows a logical structure with sections for overview, installation, configurations, and troubleshooting. So you should make use of the table of contents and index to navigate. I know a lot of us have actually gotten to see documentations and all of that, and probably be able to, I mean, in one way or the other, make use of documentations for our various projects that we've been working on so far. And I mean, it can actually be very, very, very good because reading through or getting to see a particular thing that you actually want in documentation. So how do you get to navigate this? So first of all, you need to understand like the structure of that particular documentation you're trying to utilize for your project. You need to know how that is actually structured. And how do you get that? You can get that from the contents or the table of contents of that particular documentation. Then secondly, identifying key concepts. So look for keywords, definition, and examples to grasp fundamental concepts. Focus on understanding the purpose and the functionality of the technology or services. I mean, over time, we've always had that issue with, for me particularly, I usually have that issue with some words, especially when I'm going through documentation. I'm like, okay, what's the meaning of this? I don't really understand what this is actually saying. So I get to like make my research on that particular keyword or phrase. Then from there, I'm able to like understand what the documentation is really pointing about. Because if you don't really understand what those keywords are really talking about, you get to miss the importance of that particular functionality that the documentation is really talking about. So really understanding those keywords, those definitions, even the examples to some extent, yeah, gives you that clarity when making use of a documentation. Then thirdly, practice and experiment. So I know there is always this section in documentation where you get to see like an example of, so for example, the documentation is telling you that to create a new service, this is how you get to do it. So underneath it, you get to see like an example of how it is actually done as well. So you doing that hands-on as well or following through with that particular example helps you to be able to understand what the documentation or that particular service is really and the functionality of that particular service. So practicing the examples stated in the documentation is one good way to actually understand documentations. Then the fourth one, which is more or less seeking clarity or seeking clarification. So if you are encountered, so if you, sorry, 1 second. If you encounter unclear sections or have sections, specific questions, you should not hesitate to reach out to forums, online forums, communities. And I know we've been actually implementing, I mean, going through and doing this as well personally, where we are not really clear about a particular tool or are not really clear about a particular functionality. You get to see that someone posts a question around that, and you get to see people that have knowledge in that area get to contribute on that particular and give clarification on that particular question that is being asked. So one way as well to understand fully documentation and make the best use of it as well is to get clarification even when you're not really understanding. You've tried practicing, you've tried identifying the keyword, you've tried understanding the structure, and still it's still really like confusing. So I think another way to actually go around it is actually getting clarification. And I think that will not really, at most times, that really helps you to solve that particular issue. So getting clarification is one way of you able to make good use of documentation. Um, so we'll move quickly to troubleshooting errors. How do we get to troubleshoot errors? And I know a lot of us, I mean, throughout our development time, you've gotten to see or you've gotten to encounter errors while trying to do a particular thing. I mean, while trying to deploy a particular application or while trying to create a particular service. I mean, you've gotten errors and all of that. So how do we get to navigate through those errors to make sure that we accomplish our goal? And one way to that is really about troubleshooting that error. So how do we get to troubleshoot errors in itself? So replicating the error is one way for us to be able to troubleshoot these errors. So you need to replicate that error. You can attempt to reproduce the error in a controlled environment. This will help you isolate and cause and isolate the cause and identify potential solutions. So one way to really like go about troubleshooting errors in itself is really replicating the errors. So most of the time, because of like the whole complex structure that is really around what you're actually trying to build, you are not really able to see the root cause of that particular issue. So trying to like reproduce that particular error in another environment, in another space where you know that the other factors are actually controlled, then you can actually know what the root cause is and actually be able to provide solution to it. I think that's one approach to it. Then secondly, analyzing the error messages. I know from most of the times, some of these errors we get to encounter really specifies what is really causing the error. So sometimes I say like a 400, which is more or less telling you probably an unauthorized. So you get to know it's something that is having to do with your token or something like that. So it kind of gives you like a description of what the error or what the problem is really about. Then from there, you'll be able to provide solution to it. So reading through through the error messages is one great way for you to be able to troubleshoot errors. Then thirdly, consult documentation. Yeah, documentation is your best friend. You cannot be misled by documentation. So consult the documentation. Most of or majority of the issues you might be like going across most of the time you always see the solution in the documentation. So let's read through documentations to see solutions for errors that you might be having while trying to build a particular product or so. Then lastly, seek assistance. Yeah, and I think this is what I mean when it comes to the brink, when you know that I've done all of the above and I'm not really getting results. So the last option you can actually get to explore as well is seeking assistance. And in this, you get to reach out to communities or people that have like higher knowledge in that space, and they get to like analyze that particular error for you and probably give you solutions to that particular error, or kind of like lead you in a way that you're able to debug that error and get a solution to that particular error. So seeking assistance is really, really important as well to when troubleshooting errors. So approaching new tools, how do we get to approach new tools? So start with the basics. Familiarize yourself with the fundamental concept and terminologies of the tools, understand its purpose and how it fits into the cloud ecosystem. So today you hear about Ansible. What is Ansible about? It's not as if we just diving into Ansible and start working on Ansible. You need to understand what that particular tool is really about, what solution that tool is actually providing, what problem that particular tool is really solving. So once you get to understand that, then I think you have like a head starter on approaching those new tools and actually making a good use of them. Then secondly, explore the interface. So navigate through the user interface to discover its features and functionalities, experiment with different settings and options to gain a feel of the tool. Yeah, so this is one good way of you to approach new tools or learning a new tool. Do a hands-on on that particular tool. Do a bit of configuration settings to see how things will play out. From there, actually learning one or two as regards the tool in itself. Then utilizing tutorials and demos. So take advantage of online tutorials, demo videos. There are a lot of resources. To some extent, for particular tools, there are a lot of resources online that you could actually use for you to be able to understand new tools. And even when I'm talking about resources, one of the resources you can actually get there could be the documentation as well is a good resource for approaching new tool. You can look through the documentation of a new tool and you're able to get like the idea around that particular tool as well. And yeah, there are online videos as well, YouTube, Udemy, probably a course that will explain detail on that particular tool. Then lastly, practice with real world examples. So apply the tool to real world projects, to scenarios, to solidify your understanding and build confidence in your skills. So how after you've understand the basics, after you experiment with it a little bit, after you've watched online tutorials and read through the documentations, one good way as well to be able to learn a new tool effectively is practice with real world examples. So you know what that particular tool is solving in terms of the problem. So you could actually get to see real world examples that has that same problem that you could actually make use of that tool to be able to solve as well too. So those are like good ways for you to be able to approach learning a new tool. Then leveraging community resources is really one way we go about all we've actually mentioned as well. Engage in online forums, explore open source projects in terms of getting to look out for projects, in terms of getting to look out or to learn about a particular new tool, in terms of getting to troubleshooting as well. Yes, you could actually leverage on all of these things as well. So engage in online forums, explore open source projects. Open source projects gives you that hands-on experience as well when it comes to working on a particular project. Then attend meetup and events. In meetup, you get exposed to varieties of tools. You get to exposed to varieties of information that you don't even know about as well. Then seeking a mentorship is another good way for you to be able to take your cloud journey to the next level. Then last but not the least, which is more or less the conclusion and the takeaway from all of this presentation is the cloud journey is really an ongoing process of explorations, learning and growth. So we should always embrace the challenge, leverage available resources and never stop seeking knowledge. As you navigate the world of cloud computing, remember to stay curious, stay connected and stay inspired. So I'll leave you with those words. I mean, learning new things really takes grit, it takes effort. And I mean, it's just one needs to just be determined to always like put in that effort towards learning a particular skill or new tool. So I will leave us with that. And that will take us to our demo real quick. So I'll be sharing my screen for the demo. Okay. All right, please let me know when you're able to see my screen. Okay, I think I all
Yes,
right.
I can see your screen.
Okay. Yes. So quickly because of time, so we're moving quickly into like the demo section on what we've just discussed on how to get to source for projects, on how to get to troubleshoot, on how to get to like read through documentations. Briefly, I mean, we'll not really be going details. We just more or less just to give like a walk around on what we've actually really discussed now. So I'll quickly rush us through that. So first of all, a lot of us are just as we mentioned in the slide that we are always curious to work on new projects and we don't really know how to get projects. So one good way, as I mentioned, I've mentioned a couple of resources that we could actually look into getting projects. But for me, I would want to in this demo I'll be looking through GitHub. So GitHub is one good way to use for you to be able to get projects. And so let's just do the demo together. So I'm on my GitHub page. So this is my account. Okay. Why are they putting my name there? Okay. All right. So I'm trying to work on, I'm looking for a project that relates to AWS or probably DevOps. So now you can put in that search parameter there. So for me, I'll put something like this. So you see, it brings a lot of projects on AWS and yeah, that relates to DevOps. So this is a project, it's Java based, it's Docker, Kubernetes, Fluent D, and all of that. So you can actually get to see like what's really about for that particular project. This is another one, AWS DevOps blah 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 zero. I mean DevOps 0 to hero, and this is like for 30 days. So you could actually get to look into that and see what it's really about. So this is a good way to actually look into projects that you could actually work on. But for the purpose of this demo, and you can see we have about 9.4K results. So I mean the list goes on and on and on for you to like get that. So there are a lot of projects that you could work on as regards AWS and DevOps. So anyone that is actually interested in the DevOps path can actually come to GitHub here and get to see projects that people have done that they can actually embark on as well and work on as well to get a firmer understanding of the DevOps concept as well as in line with AWS cloud. So for the purpose of this demo, I've already cloned a particular project and I've forked the repo already. And you can see the project here. I forked from this particular project. So this is the one I choose. So it's more or less like a CI/CD project, and is more or less a project that deploys a machine learning application to the ECS, that's the Elastic Container Service, that's the ECR now on AWS itself. So this is making use of GitHub Actions for the deployment, and it's doing the deployment with the use of a self-hosted agent. So it's not making use of the agent for the GitHub for GitHub. It's making use of the one for on AWS. You have to create an agent on AWS for you to be able to do that. So so if you look at the project itself, so this is the project, and yeah, from the README file you get to see this is what it's doing. So it's an end-to-end machine learning project, and the project is actually Dockerized. So we need to build the Docker file. I mean, we need to build the Docker file, yes. Then you create a GitHub workflow for that as well. So we are making use of GitHub Actions here for the CI/CD phase for deploying this particular project to AWS. Then we create some permissions in AWS to enable the AWS EC2 instance, which is more or less the agent to be making use of for the deployment, to be able to have permissions to deploy as well. Then these are like the setup commands that would be using for us to be able to install Docker, which is more or less what we'll be using to, which is more or less what a prerequisite or requirements that we're using as well in this project. And yeah, we'll be configuring an EC2 as a self-hosted runner as well. So when I first got to see this project, it was kind of fascinating. It was strange because most of the time I get to make use of the runner or the agent that is provided by the organization. In this term, that's GitHub. But for this particular one, I have to create my runner myself because of the kind of workload I'm kind of like trying to deploy. Then so I have to create my self-hosted runner, and there were no really like details, or there was no really like instruction on how to go about that. So that's where like research comes in as well. Then we need to set up secrets. Before I need to point this out quickly. You need to set up GitHub secrets. Set for the key, the access key. I know we are kind of familiar with this. The region. We need to create an ECR on AWS, and we need to like append or create a secret as well for the we create a secret as well for the URL for that particular ECR. Then we specify the repository name as well for the ECR. So those are things that we need to set up on the AWS. Then we need to create those secrets here. So for me, I've done that already, but I'll kind of like walk us through the process real quick. So first of all, the for setting up the self-hosted runner, I had to like kind of do research around that. So um, so self-hosted runner on GitHub. So yes, and you can see this is actually the GitHub documentation. So you can see I streamline my um, research or whatever I'm actually trying to inquire from GitHub, or what I'm actually looking for based on my query on Google Chrome. So this is about self-hosted runners. So I'm kind of like really new to this. I don't know what self-runner is really about. So this gives me like a detailed explanation of what self-hosted runners are and how to really go about setting them up. And this gives me the difference between GitHub hosted runners as well as self-hosted runners. So and just as I explained, because of the requirements for this particular project, that's the reason why we are unable to make use of GitHub hosted runner. So we have to make use of self-hosted runner for this. So yeah, you get to see like details on how to go about this, as well as supported architectures and operating system for this particular self-hosted runners. You get to see all of that there. And yeah, you get to see like more details as regards this as well. So quickly, we're looking at how to set up a self-hosted runner on AWS. So setting up self-hosted runner. Okay, so this is the query. This is more or less me trying to like research on how to actually get to set up the self-hosted runner on an EC2 agent. So this is this is a documentation as well on GitHub, taking us through or walking us through how to get to set up this. It works us, I mean, gives us the use cases and all of that. And because of that, I'm not really going too much. It's something that you can get to like do research on at your own pace. So usage, you need to create an AWS access key. With an AIM user, I've set up that on my account. So this is my account here on AWS. But we'll be setting up the ECR. I set that up before now. That's the ECR and the repository in itself. I set that up before now, but I deleted that. So I'll set that up again, and I'm working us through that. So you need to set up the IAM user with the user key. I set that up already. You need to create a role for the EC2 runner. So I created the role already, giving it these various permissions. You can see, this is the AWS resource tag. So these various permission, replace IAM instance profile association as well as the instance profile as well for the EC2. And another thing we need to do is we need to add these keys. That's the key that you set up for the IAM user. You need to add that to the GitHub secrets. So quickly, let me just bring that up. So this is, so I forked this particular repo already. So I want to show us like the setup for this secret. So being someone that has not really like worked through how to set up secrets for environmental secrets for a particular for the GitHub actions. So you can actually get to research that as well, making use of Google and Google can actually walk you through that as well, or probably a video can actually walk you through that. So so you come to the settings phase, you come to, and this is at the repository level. Mind, it's not at the profile level. So it's at the repository level. So you come to secrets and variables under actions. And yeah, you get to see the secrets here. So I've already set up this secret already. I'll not be opening these values here, but I mean, these are the secrets, the key ID, the ECR, URL login. I think I might need to change this. The region, I set that up. I think I can show you the region. Oh, it's not showing actually. So once you start, you don't get to see it again until you update that. So the region, the secret access key, the ECR repository name, and yeah, create a token as well for GitHub to be able to authenticate with the self-hosted runner as well. That's the EC2 instance you'll be creating. So so this is like the prerequisite. Then okay, let me quickly set up the ECR repository. So I'm just going to create a repository name. I think yeah, add that as MLCICD. Yeah, great. Yeah, so this is my URL for the, okay, let me just update this already again. So this is the URL. So I'm updating this here. So this is the value, taking this out. So this is the URL for the CR itself. Oh, it's asking for my password. Then that is updated. Then the one for the repository name now, which is the MLCICD. So update the secret as well. So that is updated as well. So you can see that's updated now. So so all of this is actually used in the workflow. That's the GitHub workflow now. So now I'd already done the GitHub workflow. I've configured it already. But what you have, let me go back to the guy's page now. So you get to see what he has preliminary is this. So this is what he has in the workflow. So you have to set that up for it to be able to have the necessary values and all of that. So this is what he has. So what he has here is just more or less configured for the normal continuous integration, delivery, as well as the deployment. So he did not have the step here for the self-hosted agents that we're making use of. But I mean, he cited that we actually be making use of a self-hosted agent, but the steps for that self-hosted agent is not here. But from the research we did earlier on, you can actually get to see where the instructions and the configurations that we need for the self-hosted agents are. So this is like the workflow. So this is like the job for the setting up the self-hosted agent in the workflow that we had earlier on. So this is the job for starting the EC2 hosted the self-hosted EC2 runner, making use of this particular image, this particular operating system, as well as so it references your key ID, your access key, your region, the secrets that we set earlier on in the environment variable. Then it references the GitHub access token that is created as well. If you don't know how to create an access token, that one is done at the profile level. Then you need to put in your AMI image for the EC2 instance, the type, the subnet, the security group ID, then the role you created earlier on. You reference that role here. And this is for the AWS resource tag. If you create a resource tag, or if you are creating a tag for your for AWS, I mean for the EC2 instance you are creating, you need to create you need to add that particular role here as well too. But in this case, I'm not doing that, so I'm not making use of this particular block of code. Then to start the runner in itself, so this is what runs the job. So this is where you attach the job that does the deployment on the self-hosted agent. So this is where you attach that job. I had all of this already configured in the pipeline. I'm just showing you what or how this is actually how this is basically here. Then this stops the runner after the job is completed. This stops the runner and yeah, deletes it as well too. So yeah, that's like the walkthrough of the self-hosted. That's the workflow for the self-hosted agent. So you take that here and am I on my, okay, let me go back. So you take that here. So this is the one I worked on. I'd modified this workflow already. So you can see we have the building continuous integration, which more or less does the building, checking of the of the Docker file to make sure that everything is fine. Then this one builds and push the ECR image to making use of the credentials that we stated in our environment variables. He does that and he pushes that to the ECR. Then we have the login to ECR to Amazon itself, where it gets to store that particular image as well. Then this is the continuous deployment path. So you can actually see that it's making use of the self-hosted agent, and you can see that I have modified the steps now to include this what we had earlier on in terms of. Oh, okay, we're still on this guy's project. Sorry, I thought that was on mine. Okay. Yeah, so from here you get to see that I had included, yeah, this is the step here for you to start the runner. So after you are done already with pushing the ECR image to the to ECR itself, then it starts the runner to create the self-hosted agent. You authenticate, then it does the deployment of the image itself, making use of your credentials to ECR. And yeah, he pulls that down. Then after he does that, he runs the process, and you can actually browse or see the application running itself, making use of this particular port ID as well. Then it stops the EC2's self-hosted agent and terminates that as well. So yeah, this is like the script. Once you've, I mean, this is the workflow YAML template or file that you get to use when you are trying to make use of the self-hosted runner agents to deploy to AWS. So I'll just quickly run this. We encounter a couple of errors. Um, but let me just do this real quick. Let's just run one at least, so we know that we had to see it running. So let's go to view. View runs now. That should be. Oh, okay. I need to make like a modification. Let me just do a quick one. Okay, so this starts the process and it runs the pipeline. So now you are seeing, so it's starting the whole process. You can see that the continuous integration aspect is running. Yeah, that's completed. So from this aspect, you get to see that it checks the code. Yeah, it does the linting. It does the linting, it runs the unit tests, and yeah, it completes that process as well. Then for the continuous delivery stage, that's the next stage after this. So you get to see that it's, so you get to see the various, it's like this. Okay, so you get to see that set up, it checks out the code, install the utilities, it configures AWS credential, and it logs into AWS ECR, making use of what we set up. So you see that it logged in to that particular URL. So it's building the image, it's tagging the image, and it's pushing this image to Amazon ECR. So that's the whole process that you are seeing here. Then after that is done, there's a whole lot of logs here. Okay, so it's still building. So after that is done, it logs into ECR and it configures that and checks that out as well. So we'll just wait a while this is running. So let's get to see our ECR repository. So currently, we have no image there currently, but when that completes, we get to see that the image is deployed there. So, and this is the job for creating the self-hosted agent. So you can see that it's it started. You can see that it's creating an AWS EC2 instance with this ID, and it started and is up and running. So if I check my AWS, if I check my EC2 tab, on AWS, you get to see that um, they have an instance running. So instance running, you get to see that this is the instance, just as we have in the log B1, ends with B1. Yeah, this is B1. You just created that now. I don't have any instance running before now. And you can see the type T3 nano. That's the type I stated in the configuration in the YAML template. And he's making use of this. Okay, let me just click on it so you get to see the details. So he's making use of this particular, this is the IP, this is the subnet, this is the instance type, this is subnet, this is the custom role I attached to it. I'm trying to see the AM. Okay, yeah, this is the AMI ID. That's the image that I'm actually making use of. So it's an Amazon Linux image that I'm actually making use of as well. Yeah. So and this is actually the self-hosted running runner that I spin up for it to run the workload. So let's go back to the pipeline as well. So you can see that the continuous delivery is successful. It pushed the job to the ECR. So let's check the ECR. Let's check the ECR to see that. So you can see on the ECR, this is my repository. You can see that I have an image there with the latest tag here. So this is my Dockerized application pushed already to ECR. So this final job here, I mean, we get to fill, and this is something that I want us to work on ourselves for us to complete that. So, but we'll look at the cause of the failure. Would look through possible scenarios that could cause that, but I don't think time will permit us because the time is really fast spent already, and there's still time for Q&A and some other announcements. But I want us to seal this job fail, and yeah, be able to look at the error message and yeah, look at how to actually get to work around that. So just give it a minute. I think it should fail in I think this 4 minutes now, just a minute here. It should fail. And the reason why it will fail will be because it's not able to communicate with the GitHub now is not able to communicate with the EC2 instance I created on EC2 on AWS. So you can see that it's checking every 10 seconds if the GitHub self-hosted registered. So it's able to reach it, but it's not registering this particular GitHub runner on the self-hosted agent that's on EC2 on AWS in itself. So it's checking every 10 seconds to get like an update, but currently it's not getting that, and it will time out because it has like a benchmark of 5 minutes for that. So once it times out, you get to see the error. I think I have like previous runs, but I actually knowingly did not want to complete that, so that I want each and every one of us, if we are looking at working on this particular project, you can actually troubleshoot that, look at scenarios that could be causing that, and fix that particular image and that particular error and get that up running successfully. So I'm coming to the actions path. So, okay, this is one that's run before now. So you can see that the self-hosted agent runner, and so this is the log. Yes, so GitHub self-hosted runner registration error. A timeout of 5 minutes is exceeded. Your AWS EC2 instance has not been able to register itself as a new self-hosted runner. And yeah, this is the error itself. And you can see from the post configure AWS credential. Oh no, from that should be the stop self-hosted EC2 instance. You can see that it deleted it stopped the EC2 instance and it deleted the EC2 instance. So it did that automatically. So if it's not able to provision, or when it successfully provisions and runs the job completely, it automatically deletes the self-hosted agents basically. So let me see if that one has failed now. So workflow back. We're still running. Okay, yeah, finally it's failed already. And yeah, that's our reason. You can see it here, a timeout of. So you can actually take this out to Google, and yeah, why are we having this failure? So you can see self-hosted runner timeout on authentication with EC2 instance. So we read through a couple of comments. A couple of people had actually encountered this as well. So how did they get to resolve that? We read through, and this is how we get to debug troubleshoot errors, and yeah, get a fix to errors that we may be facing. So I think that's where we'll be wrapping it up because of time. So I want us to continue working on this ourselves and get the pipeline fixed for it to be able to deploy to EC to the ECR, and yeah, get our application up and running as well. So I would take a stop at this point and yeah, open it up for questions. Thank you very much. All right, so if you have your questions, please, you can actually put in that in the comments, in the comment section. Bolo Atifa will be the one handling this section quickly because of time, so we could actually take the announcement and call it an evening.
In the YouTube chat session so that we can answer your questions. Does anyone have any question on like the demo or everything we've talked about during the presentation and the demo? Does anybody have question? You can drop your questions like now so that we can answer everything here.
All right. While we wait for questions, I'd like to appreciate and thank everyone for waiting till this time. So I'll quickly run us through the announcements while we wait for your questions. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. Thank you, everybody. So I just want to extend this warm invitation to our AWS Community Day, which is happening September 27th and 28th. I think we all have the flyer. If we don't, the flyer will be posted to the group. So this event is something that happens once in a year. It's an opportunity for us to come together to learn, to connect, and to go alongside our fellow AWS enthusiasts. So whether you are a professional, we are just starting your cloud journey, this is something for everyone. So the first day, which is on the 27th of September, it's a virtual workshop from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we're basically working on a deep dive into a workshop, which is to enhance skills, to ask questions in real time. So we'll be covering essential tools and services that can provide this practical insight to help in our project, like something that was just presented to us now. So don't forget to come prepared with your questions. That's for the virtual workshop happening on the 27th. While on the 28th, which is the next day, it's an hybrid event, which is in person and virtually. It's happening from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we'll be hosting this virtual event where you could choose to attend in person or virtually. So these days particularly filled with insightful sessions, yeah, panel discussions and networking opportunities. So where we'll be meeting these AWS industry experts, and you'll be also meeting with like-minded peers. So this it's an opportunity for us to interact. It's a perfect environment for us to build and exchange ideas. So if you have any projects you are working on, you could ask questions. It's basically to ask questions from people that are experts, people that know these things, to clear your doubts and every of your confusions. So let us come together to learn, to collaborate with one another. So the event venue is Queen's Park Event Center, Trinity Avenue at Victoria Island. It's on the island. So I think we'll be working on trying to get directions. We'll be posting directions across to the group chat for people to find their way down there. All right. Thank you all for listening. So if you have any questions, please you can go ahead. I don't know if any of us have any questions to ask. Okay. While we wait for more questions, okay, somebody asked question. Said, "I does ECR service fall under AWS free tier?" Okay, I'll leave that to Emmanuel to answer.
Okay, so yes, Ibrahim. Yes, ECR actually falls under the AWS fifth tier. I think you have about 500 MB storage for private repositories for ECR. That's monthly. So yes, it does fall. You can actually make use of the ECR service um, under the AWS fifth tier. Then I think the second question I'm seeing here is what can you say making use of ChatGPT for troubleshooting? Well, to some extent, ChatGPT can actually give you like good response. I mean, can actually help you to be able to simplify issues, but it's not really like fully effective for troubleshooting. There's a lot of things that comes to play when you are actually trying to troubleshoot. And I think it's really best for you to be able to make use of, I mean, for me personally, I would make use of Google Chrome. I mean, Google things out, read through documentations, and that will help me to be able to like troubleshoot things better. There are times where you get to ask ChatGPT something and it's actually referring or giving you a wrong answer completely. So most times I prefer most of the time to actually make my research and troubleshooting on Google basically. So for me, that's what I would recommend. But if you are looking towards ChatGPT, yeah, I think you could actually get, but to a large extent, for me personally, I recommend doing that using your search browser. The third question I'm seeing here is it compulsory to use ECR when using Docker to push your projects to cloud? Yeah, so for different cloud service, they have their cloud repository service on there. So for AWS, it's ECR. For Azure, that's ACR, that's Azure Container Registry. And you can actually make use of the Docker registry itself. So it's not really compulsory that you have to make use of ECR for pushing Docker projects to a like repository. So you can actually make use of Docker repository as well for that. Okay, I think those are all the questions we have for now. I think we can go on with the other announcements quickly. We're already far behind on time.
All right. Thank you guys for thank you, Emmanuel, for answering those questions. I hope those response answers your questions. So without any delay, I'll be taking this announcement on our our weekly activities, which is engaging in series of activities to keep our community going and connected. So we have on Monday, which is we talking about or posting rather posting fascinating fun facts about AWS. So each week we share interesting insights, not on different AWS technologies. So something you could read and could spark your curiosity. You could even ask questions even after these fun facts are being posted. I want us to watch out on Tuesday for our latest blog post, which happens every Tuesday, where we talk about various topics. We offer insights and ideas on latest AWS services, AWS platform itself. So whether you are looking for tutorials or best practices on AWS, our blog on Medium will be provided. Will provide you valuable resources for you to go through your AWS cloud journey. Then on Wednesday, it's for us to discuss like have a lively discussions about all things AWS. It will give you a chance to ask questions, to share experiences, to collaborate with fellow members. So whatever things you are going through, maybe you don't understand regarding a project, so anything at all. So we are there to answer your questions. While on every 2 Sundays of the month, it's a time for pop quiz, where we put our AWS knowledge to test. So we urge you to join our online quiz on WhatsApp. so you could compete with your fellow peers to win cool rewards, which could also benefit you learning. We're posting about 10 questions where you could answer, so whoever answers first wins something. So we have something for the first, the second, and the third winner. So we can't wait to see you at this event, and thank you very much for staying till this time. Thank you, everyone. So I'll pass the mic to continue.
Well, good evening, everyone. Hope what is it called? The what is it called? Our speaker is actually giving us an what is it called? An lesson on diving into our AWS cloud journey, taking control and every one of it. Well, actually, as being a what is it called cloud kind of person, I yeah, whenever it takes up that what is it called, I learn one or two, and I think this is really exciting and hope to help in whatever journey we've found ourselves. Then what's it called? We'll be having our what's it called? We're having a competition coming up soon. Let's say next month, hopefully, where we'll be getting to give winners what's it called? Exam vouchers. That's the AWS exam voucher. So I'm giving everyone that space, what's it called? Time to always can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can
Okay,
hear you.
okay. Okay, okay. So like I'm giving everyone that what's it called that chance and time to participate with what's it called the competition that will be coming up, the challengers will be picking winners every week because the way the competition will be coming by weeks, 4 straight weeks. That's like for a month. So in every week we'll be having a what's it called project, a stack where we give out, then people get to participate, and the first winner will be given what's it called the exam voucher. Then we'll do that for this following week for like for 4 consecutive weeks. So that is that. Please, we encourage everyone to make sure they participate in the competition. Thank you.
All right. I'm taking the last announcement, which is more or less to encourage um what we've learned from today. I want us to take what we've learned today and act on it, basically on projects, working on projects, sourcing for projects, troubleshooting errors that we encounter while working on a project. I want us to take this initiative from what we've learned today and apply them today. It's really exciting when you get to work on project and you're able to really like have a good result from that. So it's really exciting, and it's really exciting when you actually do something that is really like new from what you've been doing before now, and yeah, you're able to like complete that. So I want to nudge each and every one of us to take that initiative to work on projects and get himself involved in various projects, and reach out to communities whenever you're stuck, ask questions and all of that. Thank you very much. I'll be leaving it up for Bolu Atife to give like the closing remark. Thank you.
Sorry, Boluwatife. To add to what Emmanuel said, I think this is a great opportunity for us to work on projects to add to our portfolio. So for people seeking to get a job on AWS, to get a job regarding cloud services. So this is a very good opportunity for you to work on projects. So the more you do, the more you solve problems, the more you go deep into it, the more elaborate and enticing your portfolio is. So I urge us to work on this project and to build our portfolio, and if there's a job opportunity, we could also post it on the group for you guys to apply. Thank you very much. Bolu Atife, you can continue.
Yes, so we have a question from Ibrahim. Can we get the repo for this project? I believe we can
Oh yes, I'll post that
get
on the
a link.
chat now.
Okay, okay.
But that's fair. You can actually round up.
Yes, so thank you all once again for joining this our little event, and we hope you like learned a lot on taking control of your cloud journey, and we also hope you learned a lot on the hands-on demo projects that we went through today. So we hope to see you in like our future project, our future virtual sessions, and even physical ones, and all other stuff we have like stuff for you. So as Staola said, there's going to be like a program where you can, for those that want to take certifications this year or the next, you can get like free vouchers. So stay tuned for that, and don't forget to share our community link to your friends that you feel they'll be like they'll benefit from any of our programs. So thank you once again for joining our event. We hope to see you in the like, next event. And yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining to now. Thank you.